In the heart of Olympus, where gods reigned in shimmering gold, a storm was brewing. It wasn't a storm of rain or thunder, but one of pure divine fury. High above the mortal realm, through roiling clouds that mirrored her rage, the eyes of a queen flashed with a venomous light. Even gods, it is said, can curse their own blood. The halls of Olympus, usually echoing with laughter and music, now trembled with a silent tension. From his throne, Zeus, the king of gods, watched his mortal son, Hercules. Pride swelled in his chest. Hercules, born of a mortal woman yet blessed with the strength of a god, was a living testament to Zeus's power. He was a shining beacon on the earth below, a hero in the making. But where Zeus saw glory, his wife, Hera, saw a bitter reminder of his infidelity. Her jealousy, a poison that had festered for years, began to boil over. She looked down from her celestial perch, her gaze fixed on the mortal who shone too brightly, who carried the divine spark that should have been reserved for her own offspring. This boy, this half-god, was an insult, a living, breathing mockery of her throne and her marriage. Her anger twisted the very fabric of the heavens. The serene blue sky above the mortal world bled into a furious, swirling red. Lightning, not from Zeus's hand but from Hera's wrath, cracked across the firmament. With a whispered incantation, she summoned madness, a creeping, insidious force, and sent it like a serpent to crawl into the mind of the unsuspecting hero. Down on earth, life was simple, and it was good. Hercules, young and full of life, trained under the warm sun, his laughter echoing as he playfully demonstrated his incredible strength to the adoring crowds. He was their champion, their protector, a beloved figure of hope. But then, a shadow flickered at the edge of his vision. The adoring cheers of the people began to warp, fading into menacing whispers that seemed to crawl under his skin. The sky, once so clear, darkened abruptly, mirroring the storm now raging within his mind. The world around him began to contort. He saw illusions, phantoms born from Hera's curse. The smiling faces of his friends and family twisted into the snarling visages of monstrous enemies. He saw legions of soldiers where there were none, their phantom swords drawn, their silent war cries screaming in his ears. Panic set in. The hero's instinct, the divine strength coursing through his veins, took over. He fought back against the phantoms, his powerful arms swinging, his feet a whirlwind of motion. He was a god in a man's body, and the phantoms stood no chance. Flames seemed to rise around him, a hellscape of his own making. Screams, real and imagined, echoed in the unnatural twilight, and then, as suddenly as it began, the madness receded. The illusions dissolved like smoke. The world fell silent. The fire faded, leaving only smoldering embers and choking ash. And there, in the center of the devastation, stood Hercules, alone. He looked down at the horror before him, at the ruins of everything he had ever loved. The phantoms were gone, but the bodies were real. In his cursed frenzy, he had slain his own family, his wife, his children. His strength, the gift from his father, had become the instrument of his greatest sorrow. His body was divine, unyielding, but his soul shattered into a million irreparable pieces. A guttural cry of pure agony tore from his throat, a sound of such profound loss that it seemed to shake the very foundations of the world. High above, on her golden throne, Hera watched. A quiet, chilling satisfaction settled upon her features. Her vengeance was complete. Beside her, Zeus, the mighty king of gods, could not bear to look. He turned away, his heart heavy with a sorrow he could not express, his own pride having led to his son's ruin. The other gods of Olympus, witnessing the tragedy unfold, whispered among themselves, their voices like the rustling of dead leaves. "The hero has fallen," they murmured, "before his story has even truly begun." Broken, a ghost haunting the ruins of his own life, Hercules began to wander. He became a shadow, his divine strength a crushing weight upon his shattered soul. He walked through relentless storms that mirrored the tempest in his mind, and he knelt in silent temples, his prayers choked with guilt. He sought redemption, an escape from the all-consuming darkness that now defined him. Finally, he arrived at the sacred oracle of Delphi, praying to the god Apollo for forgiveness, for any path out of his personal hell. And a voice, ethereal and ancient, answered from the depths of the temple. "Your crime is great," the oracle declared, "and your penance must be greater. Only through suffering shall you find peace. You must serve your cousin, King Eurystheus, for 12 years. Complete whatever tasks he demands of you, and only then might your soul be cleansed." As the oracle spoke, visions flooded Hercules' mind, flashing before his eyes like bolts of lightning. 12 impossible trials. He saw the terrifying jaws of the Nemean lion, its hide impervious to any weapon. He saw the regenerating heads of the Lernaean hydra, a multi-headed serpent of pure venom. He saw the three-headed hound of hell, Cerberus, guarding the gates of the underworld. He saw a bestiary of monsters and a litany of impossible feats, each one designed to break him. He understood then. These labors were not a path to glory, but a sentence, a punishment designed to match the scale of his sin. Each victory would not be a triumph, but another scar carved upon his soul. The scene transitioned back to the gleaming halls of Olympus. Zeus finally confronted Hera. Their rage needed no words. It was a silent, thunderous force that crackled in the air between them. The king of gods, his voice a low, dangerous whisper, finally broke the silence. "Your curse has made him a monster," he accused, his eyes burning with a grief-stricken fire. Hera, unrepentant and cold as marble, met his gaze without flinching. A faint, cruel smile played on her lips. "No, my husband," she replied, her voice smooth as silk but sharp as obsidian. "I made him a god." She knew that by forcing him through this crucible of suffering, she was not just punishing him. She was forging him into something far greater than a mere mortal hero. She was shaping him into a legend, ensuring his name would be remembered for eternity, forever intertwined with the tragedy she had wrought. Our story ends on a lonely mountain peak, where Hercules stands against a gray, unforgiving sky. The wind howls around him, whipping his cloak like a tattered flag. His body, a canvas of scars, bears the marks of every labor, every battle won. But the deepest wounds are not visible. They reside in his eyes, which carry the same profound sorrow from that first fateful day. He looks up toward the heavens, toward the distant faint glow of Olympus, the home he can never know, the source of both his power and his pain. And in a voice weathered by endless hardship, he murmurs to the wind, a truth learned through unimaginable suffering. Strength is not power, it is endurance. As a final dramatic flash of lightning illuminates his solitary figure, the camera pulls away, leaving him a small, defiant silhouette against the vast, watching sky. Olympus glows faintly in the distance, a silent observer of the man they cursed, the hero they broke, and the legend they unintentionally created. For more untold stories from the rich and tragic tapestry of Greek mythology, don't forget to subscribe and join us again as we journey back into the age of gods and heroes. Thank you for watching.